It's not something we want to hear. We are going to struggle in this life. It is guaranteed that you will suffer. It is guaranteed that you will cry a lot, that you will want to curl up in a little tiny ball. And it is guaranteed that you will want to run away from all of that struggle. But what if I told you that persevering through that struggle is what will help you find your purpose? It will give you your meaning. It will get you happy, your wholeness. It will help you reach your full potential. Now, we see that in nature, and it's in the butterfly. Now, I'm sure every one of you out there are saying, what on earth does struggle and the butterfly have to do with each other, right? It doesn't seem like something that would go together. Now, we so often forget the magnificent beauty. We stand in awe of the beauty of a butterfly, but so often we rarely admit the changes that it has to go through to get to that point of absolute beauty. Now, we'll do a little science 101 here for you. I know you guys aren't in class today, but might as well take you to class. It starts out as a caterpillar, right? Not something incredibly gorgeous or amazing, but it starts out as a caterpillar, and it wraps itself in a cocoon. And in that cocoon, essentially the ultimate suffering and the ultimate struggle happens. What happens is it actually digests itself and it breaks down every single one of its enzymes. Well, what happens then is it transforms. It starts to create the eyes of the butterfly. It starts to create the wings. It creates the body. But it has to go through that process. Now, very interesting. If you would stop this process at all, if you would cut into the cocoon of a butterfly before it did become that butterfly, caterpillar juice would just ooze out, and unfortunately, it would be nothing. It would not live up to its full potential, and it would not be the magnificent and beautiful butterfly. So patience and perseverance is vital. Now, how can I stand up here today and talk about suffering? I look like my life is perfect, right? I have a great job at Valley News Live TV. I'm a news anchor there. I love my job. I love my coworkers. I love everything about it. I have great friends. Brooke, who just spoke today, she's so amazing. I have great times with all my friends. I love life more than anything, right? It looks like things have been handed to me. Well, my family even kind of looks like that. Now, this is kind of Throwback Friday for all of you out there. This is circa 1997. There's me back down in the corner. I'm 12 years old. My mother is sitting next to me, and she's in the audience today as well. Hello, Mom. And she's a 5th grade teacher, so she knows what it's all about to go through schooling and deal with those sorts of struggles. My dad is a pharmacist, and then my 2 brothers. Cam is the one below. Brandon is the one above. And oh my gosh, we were so close. A whole family very close. But my brothers and I can't even describe how close we were. So we played tennis together, we played basketball, we did all kinds of sports and stuff, right? So we get up at like 6 or 7 in the morning, bike down to the tennis courts, and be there till 10 o'clock at night if we could, when Mom comes calling us to come back home. So we were literally bonded so incredibly close. Well, that bond was severed significantly on October 10th, 1997. I was 12 years old. I'm at home in my parents' home in Red Wing, Minnesota, a little town just south of Minneapolis. And all I can think of is the costume I'm going to wear, the shoes I'm going to wear, how's my hair going to look, how the decoration's going to look for all my fellow 7th graders to come to my house and have a little party. Well, I get a knock on the door, and it's a dear friend of ours. Her name is Candy Zawikowski. And she says, Stephanie, unfortunately, Brandon has been in a car accident. And I kind of didn't really know how to react. I didn't know how bad it was. So I said, okay. And she said, let's go to the hospital and see him and see your parents and see Cam. I remember exactly the step that I was on as I was walking down the front porch when she said, Stephanie, Brandon has died. You've got to be kidding me, Candy. I was, no, that's not real. That's not a reality. Yes, he's died. I mean, how does your 7th grade mind wrap their mind around that? All I was thinking about were the clothes I was going to wear for that night, or if so-and-so liked me and was writing me notes. Because back then we wrote notes. We didn't have text messaging, obviously. I didn't fathom the understanding that someone so close to me could just be gone. Well, obviously, it was the case. He was broadsided by a dump truck when he was going onto the highway and killed immediately. Now, for years after that, we had so much support from people. So many loved ones stepped up, strangers, everyone. But that wasn't necessarily enough. I had to actually address things that I was going through. You can have all the support in the world, but if you don't actually face the fears and face what you're going through, you're not going to be able to truly get through it and become that beautiful butterfly. 10% of our life is what happens to us, right? Definitely 90% is how we react to it. So in this process, I decided to look at the grief and actually decide to go through the grief. And I decided to struggle and to hurt and to cry a lot and to close myself off sometimes, but then open myself up again. And knowing that that was so important to be in that cocoon of struggle and knowing that I had to persevere through that. And I didn't know what it was really for, but I knew it was for something greater, that I had to address this. And I had to really understand why, just go through this grief and all of this struggle. And it was very interesting. In that cocoon, I finally realized that all the little silly things, the petty things, like what shoes I was going to wear and if Johnny liked me, or if I even got a perfect score on a test, that kind of just sloughed off. And all the little things then, the joys in life started to matter. So just having a roof over my head, being able to have exceptional food cooked by my parents, being able to have at least another brother. I mean, all those things mattered, but all the petty things, oh, they just wiped away. Now, Cam and I were so incredibly close after Brandon died. I mean, there's only us now, right? Of course we have our parents, but there's a bond that's created by a sibling when you have lost that other piece of you. And so Cam and I became very close, I mean, closer than we ever had before, and just best buddies for life. Now, over the years, Cam really struggled, though, hugely. Brandon was his idol, and Brandon was really someone that mentored him, but he struggled significantly. And at the age of 18, Cam was diagnosed with depression, and it is something that runs in our family. Mental illness does run, so it was definitely in his DNA. But that suffering and that struggle definitely catapulted him to that level. So at 18 years old, he's dealing with depression, and my parents and I and his counselor are basically the only people who know about it. Now, that's not a way that is going to be conducive for help, right? I mean, my brother was struggling so much but wouldn't really tell people. And unfortunately, it cost him his life. On August 11th, it was the day before his 20th birthday. It was 2002. I'm 17 years old, and I'm going into my senior year, ready for a great year of tennis. I just got accepted to the University of Minnesota. So excited, so thrilled. Well, I had plans to hang out with Cam on August 11th, day before his birthday, so we'll do a little something. We were going to watch a movie, we were going to hang out. And my mom comes down and she says, Steph, I just want to see if you wanted to come with us up to see Cindy up in Woodbury, Minnesota. Now, Cindy is my aunt, and she was dying of a brain tumor at the time. Yes, we have had a lot of struggle. Unfortunately, she passed away 6 months later. At that time, I didn't know how long I would see her. I don't know if she would live for 6 days, 6 hours, 6 years. So I decided to go up to see Cindy. Little did I know that that was the last time I would ever lay eyes on my beloved and only other sibling, Cam. We came home that night, and he had taken his life in our home. Suicide is so much different than any other death that I've ever experienced and that many will experience. There's so many questions as to why. There's so many questions as to how could this happen to me or to him? Look at him. He looks like the perfect human being, looks like an Abercrombie model. My brother was on scholarship playing at UW Green Bay for tennis. He was an A student, but Cam was suffering. And he also didn't take care of himself as much as he could have. He went out with friends and all of that. And when you have depression, if any of you have it, you know it's so vital to really take care of yourself. Now, after Cam died, it was totally different. I suffered to the point where I didn't even want to have anything to do with understanding what was depression and anxiety. I was so afraid because I didn't get it. I didn't get what he was going through. I didn't get how he could get so deep and so dark to that point. And so for several years after that, I couldn't do like an out of the darkness walk. I wasn't able to do any sort of help, any sort of purpose, right? I was like, hands off. I gotta just back off. But at one point, I finally felt that I needed to move forward. And God was really pushing me to address this struggle. I was sitting in this cocoon stewing. I wasn't doing anything but just stewing in there. And I wasn't gonna even be able to emerge from that had I not addressed what I was fearing. So I buckled down and I said, okay, I'm going to meet with psychiatrists, therapists, meet with people who struggled with depression or anxiety. I'm going to talk with people who have lost a loved one. I basically became like this expert on what is mental illness, how do people get through it, I just soaked up every single thing that I possibly could. It's amazing what happened in that cocoon during that time. I had no idea what God was using me for in that suffering. And in February of 2013, just last year, I started the Stephanie Goetz Mental Wellness Initiative along with amazing people. Abby Tower, Executive Director, Nancy Jordheim from the Fargo Public Schools formerly, and also Dr. Reed Sulik, who's a psychiatrist and a pediatrician, and now countless others. I had no idea that that suffering and that understanding would get me to the point where we would be able to start something so incredible, that we would be able to get early intervention and prevention of mental health and mental illness resources to people. You know, focus on treating depression at stage 1 versus waiting till they're suicidal. Getting them when they're just dropping out of their sport that they love so much versus when they are really, truly suffering. I had no idea that in a year and a half we'd be raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to help the Fargo community and well beyond. I mean, imagine that. That's incredible, to take that suffering and to make it something so beautiful, and to know that it can be used for such good. Life is such an exciting business, you guys. It is absolutely amazing, even when you're suffering. But it is most exciting and most amazing when it's lived for others. I mean, Helen Keller, deaf and blind, how can she say that, right? She is the picture of suffering. She was in darkness for all of her life. But yet, she saw that there was a purpose, that there was much more to life, and that you can absolutely get through whatever you're going through, whether you feel like you are worth it or not, or whether you feel like you're strong enough or not. You are absolutely worth it to one person, and you can be a purpose to somebody else. Now, perseverance is key in all of this, and this is my favorite verse in the Bible, and it just says it so perfectly. It talks about what I believe is the cocoon and really truly getting through it to getting to the other side of being that butterfly. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and my sisters, whenever you face trials. Now, we're not asking you to be so excited about all those struggles you're going through. That's not what we're asking. It's saying that there is joy and beauty that can come from it. You can maybe understand and see the little joys in life when you weren't able to before, or you might be able to help someone who's also struggling with what you're going through. Knowing that the testing of your faith produces that perseverance, and perseverance absolutely has to be complete, not lacking in anything. It must finish its work. It has to. So you cannot cut open that cocoon of struggle as much as you want to just get out of it and run away. Facing it day by day is going to get you to that point of your ultimate purpose and just your fulfillment and happiness. One thing you have to remember too, when you are suffering and struggling, you're not a loser. You are not good for nothing. You are not just a leech and a wart on this world. You are beautiful, and you are loved, and you are more than enough at that moment. And you are supposed to be in that moment as long as you're looking forward. There is something very beautiful about all of that. So what experiences do you guys have? What are they? What are some things that you've gone through? What are the struggles you've faced? What are the sufferings you've gone through and are going through right now? Maybe you need to face something, or maybe you faced it and you can use it for something much greater. I challenge you today to leave here thinking about that and really focusing on that. I know it's hard. I know it sucks to go through struggle and to really look at it in the eye. But you're stronger than it is, far, far stronger. Now, I want to leave you with something very beautiful. How do you persevere? How do you get through things? How do you have resiliency and grit, which every single one of you has? We created this campaign called Imagine Thriving. It's an action project of the Stephanie Goetz Mental Wellness Initiative. And it was created by the doctor on our board, Dr. Reed Sulik. He deals with a lot of kids who struggle significantly. And he works this exercise in with them to help them get through their struggles. So I want all of you to do it with me today. Okay, I want all you guys to close your eyes out there. Just close your eyes and settle in, relax a little bit. Take a few deep breaths. It's been an amazing day, and there's going to be even more amazing speakers. I want you to think about your day. I want you to think about what you've gone through. Someone may have cut you off as you're driving on the way over here. You got a nasty text from a friend. You heard something awful. You may have to put your dog down tomorrow. Whatever the case may be. Oh, forget about those things, okay? With a deep breath, just let it go and relax. Let those things you cannot control go. And instead, imagine yourself thriving. What are you doing? Where are you? Are you scoring the winning goal? Are you at the lakes? Are you relaxing? Are you reading a book? Are you at TEDx? Whatever the case may be that helps you thrive, that can never, ever, ever be taken away from you. All of human liberty can be taken away from you, stripped of your clothes, your food, your house. But how you react to it and thriving, that place that you're at, can never, ever be taken away from you. I want you to all open your eyes, and I want you to all imagine thriving and take that with you. You beautiful, beautiful butterflies. Thank you.